Your mind has been trying to warn you for a long time, but you kept calling it overthinking, stress, or just a normal phase. Even when deep inside you felt something was not right, something quietly shifting in your life that you could not explain. And the most dangerous part is not the feeling itself. It is how easily you learn to ignore it, even when your own silence started feeling heavier than your thoughts. Because your mind does not scream at first. It whispers through discomfort, through uneasiness, through that strange feeling that something is wrong, even when everything looks fine on the surface. But when those whispers are ignored again and again, they slowly turn into thoughts you can no longer escape. That heaviness you feel without reason is not confusion. It is awareness trying to pull your attention towards something you are avoiding in your life, or emotions. And every time you say, "I'm fine," but feel completely different inside, your mind stores it as truth you haven't accepted yet. Because your mind is not against you. It is trying to protect you from patterns you're repeating without realizing their cost on your peace. And when protection is ignored for too long, it starts showing up as anxiety, restlessness, and emotional exhaustion. And right now, if something inside you feels like this message is speaking directly to you, it is because your awareness has been waiting for this exact moment to get your attention. You are not lost in life. You are simply ignoring signals your own mind has been sending you for a long time, hoping you would finally pay attention before it becomes heavier. And what you call overthinking is actually your inner awareness trying to protect you from something your emotions already understand. But your logic keeps rejecting every single day without stopping. The discomfort you feel is not random. It is a quiet language your mind uses when something in your life is no longer aligned with who you are becoming inside. And every time you ignore that feeling, it does not disappear. It transforms into restlessness, anxiety, and emotional weight that slowly builds up inside your thoughts over time, deeply, always. Your mind is constantly scanning your reality, noticing patterns you overlook, and trying to redirect you away from situations that silently drain your energy and peace every single moment deeply. But because you are so used to ignoring your intuition, you mistake warning signals for stress and truth for confusion until everything becomes too loud to ignore. Eventually, always now. And the deeper you suppress these signals, the more your mind begins to communicate through emotions you cannot explain, moments you cannot control, and thoughts you cannot silence completely now. This is not your mind turning against you. This is your mind trying to bring you back to alignment before you lose connection with your own inner truth right now. You were never meant to live disconnected from your intuition. But somewhere along the way, you started prioritizing logic over inner knowing and silence over emotional truth deep down always. And now your mind is doing everything it can to pull you back, even if it means discomfort, confusion, or emotional overload that forces you to finally listen fully. Now, if you are feeling something deeply while hearing this, it is not coincidence. It is recognition. Because part of you knows what your mind has been trying to show you. And once you truly start listening to these inner warnings, your entire perception of life begins to shift. Because you finally stop ignoring yourself from within your soul, now completely. You keep thinking life is just happening to you. But in reality, your mind is shaping how you experience everything. Even the things you believe are outside your control every single day deeply. What you feel internally becomes the lens through which you see your reality. And if that lens is filled with fear or confusion, even peaceful moments start feeling heavy without any clear reason inside. Your mind remembers everything you ignore, every emotion you suppress, and every signal you dismiss as nothing. And it stores them quietly until they start affecting your peace without warning. That is why sometimes you feel emotional weight for no reason. Because the reasons were never absent. They were just buried under everything you refuse to acknowledge within yourself deeply. There is a part of you that already knows when something in your life is not right. But you keep convincing yourself to ignore it because facing it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. But ignoring truth does not remove it. It only delays the moment when your mind forces you to finally confront what you have been avoiding for too long inside your thoughts. Always. This is why your thoughts become louder at night, when everything is silent and there is nothing left to distract you from what your inner awareness has been trying to show you. Because silence removes distractions, and in silence, your mind finally speaks the truths you have been avoiding throughout the noise of your daily routine and responsibilities constantly, without stopping. Because your mind is not designed to destroy you, it is designed to protect you. Even if the way it communicates feels intense, confusing, or overwhelming in moments you least expect. And the more you resist these internal warnings, the more your emotional system intensifies them, until you are finally forced to acknowledge what has always been true inside you deeply. Always. There comes a moment when your inner world starts changing so quietly that you don't even realize you are no longer the same person you were a few weeks ago. You still follow your routine. You still speak the same words. But something inside feels disconnected from everything you once called normal. And that silent shift is not confusion. It is awareness slowly waking you up to what you have been avoiding. Your mind begins bringing back old emotions and memories. Not to punish you, but to show you patterns you have been repeating without noticing. Every uncomfortable thought is actually a message from your deeper self trying to point you towards something unresolved. And instead of escaping, your awareness is forcing you to finally face it so real change can begin. You are not losing control. You are becoming aware of emotions you have suppressed for too long to stay comfortable. This discomfort is not failure. It is the breaking of illusions that kept you disconnected from your true self. And when illusions break, reality feels heavier because your mind is adjusting to truth without filters. That is why silence feels loud sometimes, because your mind is no longer distracted and starts processing everything you avoided. Every emotional wave you feel is connected to something your awareness has been trying to show you all along. And the more you resist, the more intense these signals become until you are forced to listen. And if this message feels personal, it is because your awareness is finally responding to truths you have been ignoring. This is not coincidence. This is recognition, where your inner self starts aligning with what it already knows. And once you stop resisting your own mind, you will realize it was always trying to guide you, not break you. At some point, you stop asking why you feel this way, because deep down you already know the answer. But accepting it would mean changing things you have been avoiding for too long. And that is why your mind keeps circling the same thoughts again and again. Not to torture you, but to push you toward a truth you keep postponing every single day inside yourself. You are not stuck because life is stopping you. You are stuck because your inner world is asking for a decision you have been afraid to make for a long time now. And every time you ignore that inner pull, your emotions become heavier. Not because you are weak, but because your awareness is getting louder with every delay you choose. Your mind has already seen the patterns. It has already understood what your heart is trying to deny. And that is why certain thoughts keep returning no matter how much you try to escape them. Because truth does not disappear when ignored. It waits, it builds pressure, and it slowly becomes impossible to silence until you finally acknowledge it fully. And what you call emotional confusion is actually your inner system trying to rebalance itself after too much suppression and too many ignored signals from your deeper awareness. This is why even peaceful moments feel strange now, because your mind is no longer willing to stay numb just to keep you comfortable in something misaligned. You are standing at a point where your old way of thinking can no longer protect you from what you already know deep inside is true for you. And that is why everything feels intense now, because your awareness is forcing you to stop delaying the change you have already outgrown within your own life. Because the mind you once ignored is now becoming the same mind that is refusing to stay silent until you finally listen to what it has been trying to protect you from all along. And maybe this is the moment you finally understand that your mind was never trying to confuse you. It was trying to protect you from repeating the same silent patterns that kept breaking your peace over and over again. Because every thought you ignored, every feeling you dismissed, and every signal you pushed away was not random. It was your inner truth, trying to find a way back to you before you lost yourself completely inside distraction. You were never meant to live disconnected from your own awareness. But over time, you started trusting noise more than your intuition and comfort more than truth, even when your soul was quietly resisting it every day. And now your mind is doing something powerful. It is breaking that illusion layer by layer so you can finally see what was always hidden beneath your distractions and emotional avoidance. This is why everything feels intense now. Because awareness always becomes loudest right before transformation, when you are closest to understanding something you were never meant to ignore forever in your life. And even if it feels uncomfortable, this discomfort is not destruction, it is alignment, pulling you back toward a version of yourself that stopped listening to fear long ago. Because your mind does not punish you, it corrects you. And every emotional wave you experience is simply guidance pushing you away from what drains you and toward what restores your inner balance again. And the more you resist it, the stronger it becomes, until resistance is no longer possible and only awareness remains as the final truth you cannot avoid anymore. And right now, if something inside you feels still, quiet, and deeply understood, it is because your mind is no longer warning you. It is finally being heard after a long time of silence. This is the moment where everything shifts. Not because life changes outside, but because you finally stop ignoring the voice that was always guiding you from within.